Hello, everyone. Welcome to PastOurPrime podcast with Frank Callenberry and Joe Laporte. How are you doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. Just getting in here, day 2 of our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Very excited. A lot of big things are happening.
Yeah.
We have a couple of good topics today. We want to talk about the midseason awards. So, Frank, who do you got for MVP this year so far?
I think easily it's got to be Russell Wilson. For what he's providing for his team, all the stats that he's putting up, his team's record, with his defense playing so poorly that every single game basically revolves around him. If he doesn't play well, they lose. Like, there's no way about it. And I mean play well, I mean like he needs 300 yards passing, maybe at least 40 to 50 yards rushing, and 2 to 3 passing touchdowns. It's a loss. And you can't ask for any more than that from one quarterback, one player, to be honest.
But do you think they're a well-built team, though? Do you think if he comes out of the equation, can another quarterback step up and be able to run that team?
No. Patrick Mahomes. Maybe just him.
So you think only top-tier quarterback could run that team?
Easily, because if you've seen that DK Metcalf got met with a real top corner in Patrick Peterson, he had 1 catch.
Okay.
But when he played other competition, it wasn't that well. So Russell gets him the ball.
Okay.
And he puts him in better positions than what he does.
And you think he does it better than Patrick Mahomes? So if you put them head-to-head, do you think it's a close race, or you think Russell runs away with it?
I think Russell gets it for the fact that he has less weapons than Patrick Mahomes does. And Patrick Mahomes just got Le'Veon Bell, who, when healthy, was a top 3 back, no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Russell Wilson's back is DJ Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Their 3rd string, technically like their 4th string, because Rashad Penny's still out.
But AB wanted to go there. That was an option for him, but he went with Tampa instead. Do you think that shows that maybe he'd rather have Tom Brady as a quarterback than Russell?
I feel like that's
an organization thing.
I think it's an organization and personal thing, because Bruce Arians is already saying how he doesn't care if he says that Mike Evans doesn't have a catch to the 4th quarter and doesn't complain. So he doesn't want to hear anything from AB, who hasn't even been in the league.
Okay.
So I think Russell easily has got to take it. MVP. I don't think there's anyone else.
All right. So who do you think's the offense player of the year?
Alvin Kamara. How can it not be? He's 2nd in receptions.
Mm-hmm.
He leads his team in rushing yards. He's top 15 in top 20 in rushing yards. He's 17th right now. He's top 20 in 2 categories by himself.
And Bruce Arians was talking about him the other day, saying that he's unstoppable. He compared him to Marshall Faulk and said he's 10 times better than Marshall Faulk. He says he's a scary dude to play against. He has all the intangibles. He can catch, he can run, and his moves, man. You give him north to south, he's gone.
He's really the Marshall Faulk is probably the best scenario, but he's bigger and stronger than Faulk, and we thought we would never see that.
Yeah.
The thing, he has 55 catches in the NFL right now. With 500 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane.
Yeah, his stats are always insane. When he first came into the league, his stats are off the charts.
But no, we saw before that with Michael Thomas, it was his stats weren't as this good. But now with Michael Thomas being hurt, the incident on the field and off the field, it's shown that they're not even missing a beat. They're 5-2 right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's always, you always have to feed everyone. That's always the thing. Thomas wants his touches. So now when him out of the equation, you go to the number 1 guy.
But even with Kamara there, you forget that Emmanuel Sanders is gone. Jared Cook's gone. They just beat a Chicago team, which is probably one of the top 3 defenses in the league.
Yeah, but Chicago has their offensive woes.
Yeah, but they didn't have Emmanuel. They went in with Traquan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I can't even name the other receiver. I can't. So it was Traquan Smith, Jared Cook, and Alvin Kamara, and they won that game because Murray couldn't even do anything because the run defense was insane.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to be Offensive Player of the Year. He could be MVP, but they'll never not give it to a quarterback.
Oh, come on.
It's always going to be a quarterback.
It's a quarterback run league. Come on.
You got to give it to him.
It's a pass-happy league. It's gun and go.
Of course.
So, all right. So, what about Defense Player of the Year? We got a couple good defense players this year playing.
As always, Aaron Donald will always be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if we're looking stat to stat right now, I think it's got to be Myles Garrett.
Really?
Myles Garrett has the same amount of sacks as Aaron Donald, more tackles, more strip sacks. And Cleveland is chasing behind the Ravens and the Steelers, and everybody's forgetting about that. And that's because of their defense. And to be honest, who else is on their defense?
I agree.
It's really just Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
And he's creating mayhem. The things he's doing on that defense is insane.
Yeah, it's like what Mac brings to the Bears. It's just
Yes.
you have him
same
and you just
exact
build
thing.
around the ends of pass rush. But
Denzel Ward is playing so much better because of Myles Garrett. Because they have secondary and linebacker problems because they lost Joe Sherburne at free agency to the Jaguars. So now it's really just just Garrett, and he's doing it.
And what about TJ though?
TJ Watt?
Yeah. He's doing some great things in Pittsburgh.
Of course he is, but I feel like that's a team defense. I don't feel like that's an individual.
You think they're better built?
Mekhi Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden. They just got the what's his name off the Jets for a 7th round pick. The Jets leading tackler, Avery Johnson.
But to be a star in that team though,
Cam Hayward,
you don't
Stephon
think TJ
Tuitt,
stands out?
Bud Dupree. That might be the whole Pro Bowl. There's no Pro Bowl this year, but if there was, that might be the whole line.
Oh, they're still voting, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. So their front four is Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt at the D tackles, TJ Watt and Bud Dupree. That is insane.
No, that
is insane. And then they have Mekhi Fitzpatrick, who was technically their 1st round pick because they traded theirs. And then they still have Joe Hayden, who's still balling. So that's a defensive built team.
Yeah, no, it helps when you guys could cover the wide receivers a little longer, gives the D line a little more time to get the quarterback. When you have great corners, shut down corners always helps.
100%. And I feel like Myles Garrett has less and he's producing more. TJ should be one-on-one all day. They can't double him because then everybody else is doing their thing. Stephon Tuitt single-handedly beat the Ravens. He single-handedly beat the Ravens.
Really?
He single-handedly dominated that game. And he was letting the other team know about it. If you watch, big old 91 was just standing there talking to Lamar all game. They couldn't do anything about it.
Offense Rookie of the Year.
I think it's 1st overall. I think it's got to be Joe Burrow. The Bengals are winning games. We haven't said that since Carson Palmer. Bengals have 2 wins.
Really?
Already.
Player of the year?
Who's over him? With that O-line.
Well, there's a lot of good rookies
Joe,
this
me
year.
and you right now can compete for a starting spot on that offensive line. Easily. They won last week without 3 starting offensive linemen and Joe Mixon. And they did it, and they barely played Carlos Dunlap. So the defense ain't helping. They lost Trey Kirkpatrick to Arizona, so the corners are even worse. And they're competing. It's him. I'm not saying because he's 1st overall. No way. I'm not even a big fan of quarterbacks. But the way he's playing with so little, he revived A.J. Green. First 3 weeks, everybody was like, get rid of A.J., cut him, trade him. A.J.'s now becoming the top receiver. Again, with Tyler Boyd.
A.J. was always a top receiver. He was
Healthy.
Healthy. He didn't like the economics of how the whole team was run. A lot of problems in Cincinnati now.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not a great...
They are moving towards the right direction now. You first get Joe Burrow. Now that's it. That's one piece. You keep building upon that. You can be a good team in a few years.
So that who else competes with him? Who do you believe is the offensive player of the year? Offensive rookie of the year?
Just so many rookies.
I know a lot of people say Justin Jefferson, but I feel like he's got that Amari Cooper about him.
Claypool. People are loving Claypool.
Yeah, both 2 receivers that have that Amari Cooper about them. That, like, if they get the ball, they dominate. But without the ball, they don't really do much.
They're both fantasy, Bam or bust. Come on.
Yeah, they're great flex.
Either hit a home run or
nothing.
You're getting 0 points.
You're getting 2 to 3 points.
1 week at negative points.
Thank God I was playing you that week. So I'll take that W. But I feel like it has to be Joe Burrow. They're winning games.
I just feel like the spotlight's so much on the quarterbacks that people get better tape on the quarterback. So people see Joe Burrow more on ESPN. You see him more through social media feeds. So he gets the most looks out for what he does.
I feel
the other guys don't get as much attention or much film about what they do, what they accomplish.
I get what you mean. Like, it should have been Clyde's Hilaire Edwards. But now with Le'Veon Bell biting on his ankles, he's going to lose that race.
Well, that's my
now.
fear with that. The second half, he won't have as great of a year because of that. And that Kansas City team is very, they're stacked.
Yeah.
So eventually he won't get as many touches now. Eventually he won't, because once they start winning by a lot now, they're gonna start slowing down that team.
100%.
They don't want to get Patrick hurt. Big contract he got. You can't afford to get him hurt.
Can't afford to get him hurt.
If you already made the playoffs, you're not going to play him all the time.
And then you don't want to play the rookie, so you might want to get Le'Veon Bell even more touches. So I feel like his touches go down. Who I would love for it to win would be James Robinson in Jacksonville.
Okay.
An undrafted rookie free agent. Took the league by storm. It's just terrible that he's on Jacksonville.
Oh, Cinderella story is always great.
Of course. So then what's next? Defensive Rookie of the Year?
We got Defense Rookie of the Year.
I feel like it's got to be Antoine Winfield Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He is bowling in the back end of Tampa Bay. Yes, Tampa Bay's offense, amazing. But
they almost jumped right on me. I don't even say nothing. You already jumped right on me.
They almost lost to the Giants.
Yeah.
The Giants.
Mm-hmm.
1-7. But the defense took that game over.
Oh, their defense is unbelievable.
I think they have the best linebacking core in the league.
Oh.
With Levante David and Devin White, I don't think there's any better.
The D-line, man, they're getting sacks every game. What is it, like 3 sacks to average in?
They're third in the NFL in sacks for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have him on the back end.
Yep.
He's 2 tackles behind in rookies. He has more. The only person that has more tackles than him is Patrick Queen for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 less tackles than him, 4 more interceptions, 2 more fumble recoveries than he does. I mean, and he's on one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
I give it to him. And that'd be great because his father played 15 to 20 years in the NFL for the Vikings. Tom Brady played against his father.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's the son of him.
Yep.
It's insane what this kid's doing.
What about Coach?
Oh, Mike Tomlin.
Oh, that's easy.
That's see you later, chop it up, Mike Tomlin. It's just we can't do what he did with Big Ben now is insane. He's bringing them all back. Steelers are the number 1 team in the NFL right now. You can't even knock them. They don't truly have a weakness. If we're being serious, where do they lack? James Conner is healthy, so he's running the ball. They have probably the best wide receiving crew in the league. They have the best team defense in the league. What? And he's keeping all them together. When we thought it was sell shop after Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown left, we thought it was pack it up.
Actually, they had a rough year with Big Ben getting hurt and everything. They had like no quarterback.
Mason Rudolph and the duck guy.
That guy.
I'm trying to do that.
That guy.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, him. Like, what more do you expect? He took so little, built the team right back, rebound, and they're undefeated.
Yes.
They're undefeated still. We're more than halfway through the 7 because Week 9 just started with the Packers.
The defense is playing out of this world. The offense is clicking. Think about it. That ball is being spread out so much. Juju's not having the big numbers. Claypool is shining.
James Washington's dogging. Deontay Johnson, some weeks the best receiver on that team.
Well, he's still playing hurt, though, isn't he? He's still a little hurt.
Yeah, he's still a little banged up.
He could be the top receiver on that team, too.
He should be. Especially with the double coverage that Juju will have
John
to face.
Connor does his thing.
100%. They have Eric Ebron. A lot of people forget that. They still have Eric Ebron. They've lost their starting right tackle week 1. Week 1, see you later. He was gone. So they're down players, but they're still producing. No matter what, they're still producing.
Now, comeback player of the year.
My old boy, Aldon Smith. My boy was out the league for 2 years and is top 5 in sacks right now.
Whew.
You cannot. I mean, the
That's
Cowgirls,
no argument,
Cowboys, whatever you want to say, having a rough year. He's shining. No matter what happens in the score box, he's playing. If you look at every single stat going on, he is playing his heart out. He's playing like somebody that you should. If you get a second chance to come back in this league, this is technically his 3rd chance.
Yeah.
Because he got cut from the 49ers with off-the-field issues, got cut from the Raiders. Jerry Jones opened up his pocket as he does, and brought Aldon Smith back. I feel like he's showing what you should do if you get a second chance or 3rd chance in life.
Listen, you really don't get many second chances in the NFL. That's it. A lot of guys are one and done.
I'll see you later.
You lose your chance, that's it.
They say the NFL stands for not for long.
Unless you're AB.
Well, if now... Because if AB comes back and somehow has 1,000 yards receiving, how's he not come back later? In 8 games, if he puts up 1,000 yards receiving, he's got to be playing.
Let me tell you, he's on the right team for it. Well, we'll go right into that game since we already talked about the Saints and the Bucks.
Okay.
But those Bucks, you have Goodwin, you have Evans, now you have AB.
Are you forgetting Gronk?
Oh, I'm not even up to the tight ends yet.
Sorry.
They have a good tight end core too. They have double tight end. What's his name? You have Gronk and Bate.
Cameron Brate.
And Brate.
OJ Howard.
Yeah, Brate showed he could play too.
100% this league.
Think about that.
And let's not forget the running back tandem
Yeah.
of Ronald Jones Jr. and Leonard Fournette, who's finally healthy.
Oh yeah, and they finally give Fournette the ball a little bit. That's it.
Yeah, you played 84% of the snaps last
Yeah.
year. So, and they still got LaShawn McCoy if anything else goes wrong.
Shady McCoy.
Oh, I love Shady's game. And we have Tom Brady throwing the ball.
Yeah.
We named all the weapons without Tom Brady.
And they're a scary
when does that
team.
ever happen? On a Tom Brady team.
Never. Oh, on a Tom Brady team? No, never.
Tom Brady's best receiver.
Tom Brady team, you get a 7th round pick,
a
guy who got kicked out from his team,
a lacrosse player,
a rugby player.
That's what we have.
Yeah.
That's what the Patriots use.
And a Gronk.
Okay, we had one Gronk who got triple teamed every game, and then we had to deal with everybody else. But I feel like that game, the Saints-Buck game, I feel like that's the most important game of the week.
It's definitely one of the biggest games of the week. It's a division game. Both these teams are competing for the division.
The Saints won the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was week 1.
Yeah, but this Buck team is different from week 1.
Oh.
Once Brady got the playbook, started talking to these guys, really coming together, it's a different.
They're starting to
Oh,
run
it's his playbook. You know, Bruce Arians, is a great guru.
100%.
But this is Brady's playbook. Brady has a certain way to check down, certain way of doing things, and it's how he plays towards it.
Bucks Saints game. I think this game right here could set the division. Because now one of these teams, they might not lose another game.
Who's home this game? I didn't see.
The Buccaneers will be home because they played at.
That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
Breeze always plays better than the Dome.
Mm-hmm. But Florida's not really a temperature kind of thing. And then what other games do we have that are huge this week?
Oh, another big one would be Colts Ravens.
Yep. Are the Colts legit? They just put up 40. Phillip Rivers is slinging that thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rivers always could sling. He just never had a team.
What? He had a great team. They just couldn't beat the Patriots. Sorry.
Well, he had great teams, but I'm saying he never had that dynasty team that was created around him.
Well, a lot of those dynasty teams couldn't be made because of the Patriots dynasty.
Oh, yeah. I agree. There's a lot of teams that, came up and they just fell apart and you had to rebuild to beat the Patriots. Everyone played to beat the Patriots.
Yeah, and it was just something. It was just too hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when you have a team that you don't have to pay much for, that team's usually going to win, especially if they play harder than everybody else.
But it's the same thing we said last week about the Ravens, though. I called it last week.
100%. You said the first person to score.
Drive, they have to score. And what did they do the first drive? Interception.
Their last drive, they ran 9 straight times.
Yeah.
It was Lamar Jackson does take 100% credit for that loss, though, which I do respect. Instead of pointing fingers, because he does not have the strongest wide receiver group.
No,
his best receiver is Mark Andrews, who before the last 2 years, no one knew he was on a roster. So let's be real.
Oh yeah.
So if that's the case, you can't. Lamar does need help, and they just signed Dez to the practice squad.
Yes, I see.
Which could be a huge move for a mentor and a weapon help kind of
place. You think he'd be a weapon? No, he's been out of the league for a bit.
Well, Aldon Smith been out of the league for 2 years. He's 5th in sacks.
And he came off an injury. Well, he was injured too.
Tore his Achilles, which at the back end of your career isn't the greatest thing to happen to you, but I mean, he still is Dez Bryant. That name still carries a little peak for a corner. Like, yo, Dez is over there. Dez?
If you're struggling to get fans, you'll get fans in for him.
Oh, come on. He's easily selling jerseys. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt, but you honestly think he can actually be an upgrade for them?
Name their wide receiver crew.
I can't name them off top head.
It's Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. If he doesn't beat you over the top, he ain't doing nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Walmart version of Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Willie Snead, who was the number 3 for the Saints, and Marquez Boykin, I think, is just a big receiver. He might get you a jump ball, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. So that's his receiving core with Mark Andrews. So,
yeah, I don't know. I just can't see Dez coming back, and AB, I can see coming back and dominating.
Dez doesn't need to be the
I can't.
man, though. He doesn't need to be the man
It
on that
kind of
team.
does. Like, it's the opposite. AB don't need to be the man.
Well, AB's the best receiver in the league when he plays.
But he has 2 top receivers ahead of him.
Yeah.
Those guys are number 1 in any other team. Most teams.
When they go 31
He's
personnel,
they're 1A, 1B on that team. And he could be a 1C.
when they go 3 receivers, I don't know how you're gonna stop him. I don't know. You can't zone him. Brady's been in the league too long.
No, you can't. You definitely can't.
You can't.
He'll find that gap.
You can't have 7 DBs on the field because Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones will destroy you. Brady has no problem handling it off.
And you can't give Brady time either in the pocket because he'll make something happen.
Especially with that O-line getting better and better.
Yep.
It's rough. It's rough.
So let's move on. What about the Bills versus Seahawks?
That's another big game of because the first 4 weeks, nobody was clearly set on Russell Wilson because of Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
However, it turns out the first 4 weeks, teams were only playing zone against him around 30% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The next 4 has to be able to beat a zone coverage team.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your one weakness is that you can't beat a zone coverage in the NFL, you might not be here for long.
Yes.
You might not be here for long. He's playing amazing, of course. There's no doubt about it. But he needs this game right here and dominate this game to get right back on track and keep them in a good playoff lead. Because the Dolphins are creeping on the Bills right now. And then on the other side for the Seahawks, they need to just keep winning because they have the toughest division in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers aren't what they used to be because of COVID and injuries and stuff.
Oh, you see some of that game last night?
It was bad. I mean, I wasn't too mad. I had Devontae Adams, so I'm not mad at all with that, but it was just rough.
I think Seahawks are probably going to run away with that division.
I don't know. The Cardinals are right there.
I don't know. I think the Cardinals are still figuring it out.
Cardinals are right there. So are the Rams. The worst team in it.
I think Rams, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they have enough weapons.
They just lost to the Dolphins last week.
Well, Dolphins probably the surprise team of the year.
Oh, easily.
They're probably the surprise team of the year. No one thought they'll be as good.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Fitzmagic, man, was killing it for a while there.
Tua played that.
Mm-hmm.
Played that.
That team, you don't want Fitz to do too good because then you end up re-signing him. Then you get with the Jets, what they did, sign a big contract, and that's it. Now you're screwed. Now you can't build off of it again.
Yeah.
So you don't want a quarterback controversy. You want Fitz there to help guide the team, help be a mentor to a young guy.
I think the Bills win that game.
Yeah, I can see Bills winning that game. Now, what about your Pats? The New York Jets.
I don't know, man. We haven't won a game since week 3 or week 9. We haven't won a game.
I think this is a toss-up game.
Oh, yeah, probably is. As terrible as that sounds.
It's.
Oh, you should have saw me after Cam Newton fumbled in the 20-yard line at the end of the game last week.
On paper, the Pats are a better team.
Oh, yeah, of course. On paper, the Patriots should have won 18-0. Should have won 19-0, but we lost.
Not 19-0.
We should have. Not this year, but I'm saying in 07 when the Patriots
07,
played.
yeah.
Yeah, should have won 19-0. We're way better than the Giants.
Yeah.
We're not bringing it up. We're not talking about it.
You want to talk about Eli?
Still have PTSD from it, so we're not talking about it. So, like I was saying, if the Patriots lose this game, I think Cam's time's over. I don't truly think it's his fault because we probably have the worst wide receiver crew in the league. We have Ryan Izzo as our starting tight end, and we drafted 2 tight ends. Both of them are not even healthy, not playing. Julian Edelman leads the league in drops again, and he's not even playing. N'Keem Harry, hit or miss every other week. Our top receivers are Jody Meeks and Denarius Byrd. James White is our best receiver, and he runs about 3-yard routes. That's starting the backfield. Yep,
and that gets the ball.
Our only bright spot for the Patriots this year has been Damian Harris, the rookie from Alabama. Out of 3 games he's played and started, he's ran for over 100 yards twice. I will take that all day. But now, I don't know what's going to happen with Sony Michel when he comes back from IR. Patriots' problem, we always have too many players. We have too many running backs.
Well, the problem with the Patriots, they always have too many running backs, but they don't have a great enough running back where they can trade them for big money.
Of course. But, I don't know why we use so many. Are we going to use Burkhead? Let's use Burkhead. Why don't we use a 3-down back? Burkhead and James White are 3-down backs.
Yeah.
James White, to me, and I will die on this hill, is the same type of player as Christian McCaffrey, just doesn't get the touches. And we saw what happened. No Christian McCaffrey. Mike Davis puts up the same exact numbers. Same numbers. Only difference, 2 different players.
Well, when White was out, Burkhead had that big game.
Huge game. Huge game. Burkhead's a great player. They just don't get touches.
Well, that's what happens in New England. It's a team. There's no, unless Randy Moss and Tom Brady connection.
Well, that's different.
The ball is spread out.
It always is. But
that's how the offense is built.
But now we have no one to spread.
Well, the whole idea of the Patriots, how they run the league is we draft undrafted guys, cheap guys we bring in, and we create a team, create an environment. Yeah. They don't need that all-star player. But
it's looking like we do.
Yeah, but you know what? Brady was a big help all those years too.
And also we had like 8 players hopped out this year because of COVID.
When you have a quarterback, you run in the same system every year. You just plugging in guys. Now you have to teach Cam, who is not a Tom Brady.
No.
Has to learn a whole new system. And you see Josh McDaniels trying to add some running things with Cam. And sometimes they don't work out.
Yeah. I feel like if we lose this game, we got to lose out and go get Trevor.
I don't think you might lose that battle too.
No. We got to play the Jets twice.
That's your only hope.
So if we lose to them twice and they tie us with 2 wins, they take over us. And now we have the first overall pick. The only team that can take it from us is the Jaguars.
The one good thing the Jets is good at
is losing. It's one thing you can guarantee. The Jets will lose.
Talking about losing, what about the Giants?
Now, do you guys want to win that game or no?
As a Giant fan, no. But
because you showed last week against the Bucs, you could compete with anybody.
That's the scary thought, man. One week they show life, another week they're like dead. But they're playing against Washington, who surprisingly is looking good this year.
With the 3-quarterback rotation, 100%.
Ron Rivera, it just shows he's a good coach too. He could be even candidate for
that man just beat cancer and is still coaching
while taking a team that's predicted to be last place in division
easily
and has them top of the division.
Yeah.
With the quarterback, they went in with Haskins thinking they have someone, and they don't. And now you have Alex Smith trying to come back in.
And now they're winning with Kyle Allen.
They don't even know what they're doing.
Nope. And they're winning games because their front 4 is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
All them Alabama boys they drafted. They have Payne. They have Sweat on the DN. They just got Chase Young. They still have Ryan Kerrigan.
Mm-hmm.
That defense is surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
And that's what's catching a lot of teams. And Scary Terry is playing out of his mind. Terry McCollum. Well, them Ohio State boys, that's just kind of what Ohio State does.
They're born and bred there, man.
Ohio State kids, that's what they do.
Yeah, Ohio, Auburn, all those places, man.
They're just
on another level.
So, as a Giant fan, you want to win that game?
No.
You want to lose that game?
I'd rather lose out.
So then,
get a top 5 pick. I'd rather have.
Are you? So then, what do you do with Danny?
Depends where we are in the draft.
So say you end up 4th. Justin Fields 1. We'll say an offensive tackle and a receiver goes. We'll just say that. And a running back goes.
You think Justin Fields goes 1?
No. Trevor Lawrence goes 1. Offensive tackle goes.
At 4, I don't think Fields would be there.
So you think Fields goes at 3?
Yeah, I think a team will trade up.
Okay. And then what do you want to draft?
At that point, we probably still need to look at O-line.
Okay.
Start looking at defense.
Interior linemen or tackles?
Interior.
Someone to match with Will Hernandez on the other side? Okay.
But I feel like we have a running back.
Yeah, easily.
Even though we killed him.
You try to kill him.
We have a quarterback. I don't think he's going to be, future Hall of Famer.
But he'll win games?
But he'll win games.
And you guys have a very good supporting cast.
And the wide receiver core, I think they're decent.
What? I think they're above average.
I think they're, depending on what team you're comparing to, but
Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and half of Evan Ingram.
It sounds great. It really does sound great.
With Saquon Barkley?
If you watch them play, then you're like, who the hell are all these guys?
That's true.
Against the Buccaneers, they look great.
Yeah.
They look great. They, get the top defense, they look great. But then you look at other games against, the Cowboys, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. And Dak got hurt that game, too.
But I'd rather be, because if you're stuck in the middle of that pack rut, man, you're stuck there for years.
Yeah. That's a tough place to be. It's rough being there.
Sometimes those middle of pack ruts, those teams only need 1 or 2 players away, and that's it. It makes their team.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough being that type of fan. I'm getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Patriots we were used to being at the top. Now we're
Yeah,
free
well,
falling.
Bill said the other day he cashed in everything to win those Super Bowls.
You can't be mad for what we accomplished.
Well, you can't be mad. You ran the division for almost 2 decades.
20 years. 20 years.
That's insane.
I think we've won it 11 years straight.
What would they say now? You have like 2-3 different dynasties within that 20 years?
Yeah. There's 2 different Hall of Fame resumes.
What other organization in any sport can say that?
None.
How many?
I don't think any.
The only one,
That
maybe
could-
Lakers?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Because they couldn't even beat the Celtics in the beginning. They won in spurts. They didn't win in 20-year decades.
I'm saying there would be 2 different dynasties.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bulls with Jordan?
Maybe because he only retired in those 2 years. So
Yeah.
that's still damn near 1 decade.
Yeah.
So
But
it's really
for
just
2 decades is long in football though, where you need 22 guys, 11 offense, 11 defense. That's hard to do.
it's very hard to do.
You know, you compare it to basketball where you need 5 to 8 guys.
Yeah, you can win a series with 8 guys.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's the number 1 team sport.
Anything else you want to say this week, Frank?
I feel
Anything going on? Any other
this
sports you're looking
weekend,
at,
this
Frank?
weekend, Thiago Santos is fighting Glover Teixeira for the UFC. It's his first fight in 500 days.
Now, was it a fight night tomorrow?
Yeah, it's fight night tomorrow. I
Mhm.
think they're in Abu Dhabi in Fight Island.
Yeah, they do usually run a month there.
So it's his first fight since the John Jones fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still ranked number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Teixeira just beat Alex Smith.
Teixeira is a
Not
veteran.
Anthony Smith. You were saying?
Teixeira is a veteran guy. He knows how to fight. And I believe he can win under certain circumstances.
Yeah, it depends on how long this fight goes.
Yeah.
Because Santos, even with his torn meniscus, ACL, MCL, whatever he tore against John Jones, he still had John Jones kind of scared.
Yeah.
And John Jones is probably the scariest man on the planet.
John Jones' last few fights, he looked a little scared.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm a big John Jones
He
guy
hasn't finished the guy.
since Gustafsson too.
Yeah. He should have put, Anthony out.
He should have put Anthony out, but Anthony's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
His lion heart.
Come on.
That is his nickname. But I feel like Santos wins that. But we all got to see how he comes back from the injury.
Okay.
So then, if Tavera wins, does he get a shot at the title?
I don't
Because
think
he's fighting number 3. Reyes just lost, so Reyes would be 1.
Yeah.
Jan was 2.
The math is right for it.
I guess the winner of this gets a shot.
The math is right, but I think that division's very. You have to watch out. A lot of
Yeah, the
things
light
are
heavyweight's
happening,
kind of like weird now without John Jones and
especially
Cormier.
with Izzy coming up now. Izzy
That's-
signed for that fight.
I can't believe I
So
cannot
that's gonna be
wait for that
huge.
fight.
And Izzy said if he wins that,
He's
he's
gonna
jumping
fight
up to
Jones.
heavyweight to
He's
fight
gonna fight
Jones.
Jones. His goal always was though to fight John Jones in 2021.
Now,
So
do
if he does that, then that man is different. I don't know how he predicted it. I don't know how he set it up like this, but Jan's not an easy fight though.
Jan's not an easy fight, but I don't know. Izzy could put a lot of muscle on. He's a skinny dude at his
6'4".
division.
It's a big dude.
And he's skinny.
Yeah.
He's skinny.
He doesn't
He
have all
could put
that
on
weight.
the muscle. He could imagine with him a little more weight, a little more muscle.
But I don't think he's ever fought that heavy though.
No, but if he does it right, gets the right training regimen.
I think he has to at least defend 205 and then fight John.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could jump from 185 to 205 and then 205 to 225, 230.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could do that jump. John's been fighting at 205, but realistically fighting in the cage at 220.
Well, it's like Max Holloway. Me and you talked about it
Yeah.
a while ago when he jumped up. He was too small to jump up.
Yeah, it wasn't big
He
enough.
was too small.
It's
Where
just
I
the way
think
it is.
I think Izzy could make that transition very easily. I don't think he could be a heavyweight though.
Nah,
when
see,
he
that's my
fights
thing.
John Jones, he can't be a heavyweight.
So you think it's got to be at 205?
It's going to be a 205.
Okay.
I
Well,
have
that it actually makes a lot of sense because if Izzy wins the 205 belt against John
Mm-hmm.
and John wins the heavyweight belt, then it's a
John has to come down. But I don't think John's. Let me tell you, I have a bad feeling him being a heavyweight.
You think so?
I think the first fight, like we said last time, has to be Overeem. I think.
Over is probably the best setup for him.
I think it's the best setup. It'll be a big pay per view.
100%. It's a striker.
Yeah.
So if things go wrong, John can grab him.
And Overeem's, I think, has a lot of top 10, top pay per views.
Yes. Overeem's a big name.
It'll be a nice big money fight.
And even on the other end, it helps Overeem out if he beats John Jones.
I just think that division moves too slow.
The heavyweight?
Yeah, it moves too slow.
It's really because of Stipe.
And Stipe's going to slow it down now.
Yeah.
Especially fighting with DC and messing up
He's
his
gonna
eye a little bit.
He's going to fight Francis, and he's not going to fight for the rest of the year.
Oh, easily.
He's not going to fight.
Did they give a date yet for the Francis?
No, somewhere in January. But he won't fight the whole year now.
Yeah, so if he fights January, we're not going to see him in 2022.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
Because what happened last time, he fought Cormier 6 months later, and everybody thought he got knocked out real fast. And they're like, Stipe has a chin. So he's probably still recovering from the Francis fight. So he's going to take that into play, and he's not going to fight John Jones.
And I think he's going to take some damage, Francis.
Oh, yeah.
Even if he wins or loses, he's going to take damage.
I think he still wins again, because I think Francis still hasn't been tested since the Stipe fight.
No, but I think he has to slow the fight down.
Well, that's what Stipe does.
Yeah, it can't be.
Oh, he can't stand in front of like he did with DC.
No, he can't do what DC tried to do with Stipe.
Nah, cannot.
That's how we should word it. DC tried to, brawl with him,
and there was no reason for it.
Hit the wrestle.
You out wrestled him. How do you not go back to it?
You're a world class wrestler.
And
Stipe, very good wrestler too.
Cool,
but
he's not DC level.
He ain't Olympic contender here.
Nope.
But if Stipe against Francis slows down the fight, tire him out, because those big guys. What's his average fight time in the ring?
Stipe's probably around 10.
Has to be under 10 minutes.
Stipe's probably around like 10 minutes now because of the long fights he had with Francis. He had with DC. He went to the fourth round with that one, and all his fights are champion fights. So I'd say Stipe is around 10 minutes. Francis is maybe 7, maybe 6.
That's what I'm saying. So if he can extend and get to the third round, I believe he gets it to the third round. Easy win for Stipe.
Okay.
Francis might win the first round. He'll get the volume in, get the punches in, do some damage. But I really believe if Francis don't catch him, Stipe will slow the fight, wrestle him, body him, tire him out.
It's just, well, that's what happened in the first fight. The first time they fought, that's what happened. They just.
But I just don't think, so if you bring it back to John Jones now, I don't think John Jones has time to make it in that division.
You don't think so? You think it's too long?
I think it's too long of a ride. Because it just sounded like he beats Overeem and gets a title shot after that. No way. You have Blades coming up.
Yeah.
You have Lewis coming up again.
That's the biggest thing is Blades, Curtis Blades. What do they do with him? Because Curtis fought Francis and lost twice. So you don't put him over Francis. But he is new. He's fresh meat for Stipe.
Oh, he's going to get another fight, Blades. He's probably going to fight. Derek's fight? Who's Derek?
Derek's fighting Biggie Boy, the one that Francis just knocked out.
Yeah, so whoever wins Biggie Boy and Derek will probably fight Blades. Winner of that will fight
for the title
Stipe in 2022.
Yeah. And then we won't see what. So then John Jones won't fight for the title?
John Jones needs 2 fights.
So John Jones isn't fighting for the title. So then if John Jones creams Overeem, doesn't he just fight Blades? No. It would make sense because Overeem's 6 in the world right now. John Jones isn't ranked yet. So if he beats him...
Well, when is John Jones going to be ready? It depends when he's going to be ready.
Well, if he beats him and he's already fighting at 225, he can fight again.
He hasn't scheduled his first fight yet. I think he's going to take some time to grow.
So if he... I think he could fight...
You have guys like Hardy who barely making weight now. That division's getting big.
That's insane.
So that division's getting big, and you have to be careful now. So you have to make sure you grow correctly.
Okay.
But like I said, I think it's going to be a long way away. I think he's going to do damage before John Jones does.
100%. He's younger. Well, he's actually not young, not that much younger. But he has fought a lot more than John Jones. He has over 100 professional fights in his career.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And he still forms great sentences. And had that much, there's no way.
Oh, yeah. Anything else you want to say today?
I feel like we're pretty good today. Day 2, I feel like we were way up there.
Day 2, I think we did a little better. Guys, we're getting better with the audio and everything. We're trying new things. If you guys have any suggestions, anything, you go on Instagram.
We have Instagram, Twitter. We don't have Facebook. That's old people stuff. We have TikTok. And these videos will always be posted right after it's done. It automatically uploads and you can rewatch it. Anything you want to point out, you keep saying.
We're also on Anchor, guys. We are on Spotify now. So we're trying to get some good things happening.
We just got accepted into Google Podcast too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're moving. We're climbing
up.
Guys,
we're going to start posting on YouTube these videos too. So we're starting to move on up, guys.
If there's any topics that you'd like us to cover for next week, we'll most likely meet up Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday
you can just
probably
let
the
us
next
know.
podcast. We'll post up everywhere. If you guys even in the chat have questions, we're watching the channel all the time, so we'll answer questions in the chat if you guys have it.
And I think that we're pretty good, man.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
It was a
Thank you for
pleasure.
listening. Always a pleasure. We'll be here. We'll be here Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday
See you
we'll be
Tuesday.
back. See you Tuesday.